Come on, guys. I'm running out of good jokes here. Oh, wait. I ran out of good jokes a long time ago. So, Angela, did you hear that? Why the cowboy want a dachshund? You want to get along, little doggy. Okay. Ah! Are we up and running? Okay, I don't need a picture yet. All right, just we're live, and in a moment, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask for the picture, and so you can maybe get it queued up and ready to go, and then we'll use it. All right, we're in Genesis chapter 11, and again in our VBS, the kids are learning about it. The confusion is the sea that we're looking at. And in Genesis chapter 11, we have the Tower of Babel. And that's where the word confusion, that's what it's pointing to, the confusion of the language. And we're going to look at a couple of different things this evening about that. We'll read the account. I'll give you some we'll talk about things that are in the account. And then because I've taken the Hebrew class, I'm going to give you a little bit extra that I learned. And I thought it was really cool to know. And so I'm hoping you guys think it's really cool. Those of you who are teachers in your spiritual gifts, you'll think it's really cool. The rest of you are going to be like, but I'm a teacher. So you're going to have to put up with it. Like the puppet was talking about it, you're going to have to aguante. All right, aguante, which means you have to put up with it. All right, Genesis chapter 11, starting in verse number 1. It says the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, and I'm going to come back to that in a little while. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build a city. Let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Now that sentence is important. The reason why they're building the city, and the reason why they're building the tower is so that they're not scattered abroad on the face of the whole earth. Verse 5, the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded, and the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore it is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Now we mentioned just a moment ago the reason why they were building the city and building the tower. And that was so that they were not scattered in the whole world. They wanted to make a mega city, and they wanted to live in that mega city. And because they had one language, they were able to cooperate and speak to each other and build that tower. Now, if you look at my hands, this is kind of what the tower looked like. It had a really wide base, and it did a circular thing like this, and it came up, and then it had a flat top, and on the flat top they built a temple. And that was to reach up to heaven. Basically, that was where they were building the temple to their idols. Was on top of that tower, and that tower was called the ziggurat. That kind of has a wide round base, and it would circle around, and it was almost like a road that would go around that. You would follow that road, and it would go up to the very top, and then at the top, like I said, it was flat and had a temple up there. We went to the Ark Encounter in Kentucky a couple of years ago. And the image that they placed, now I'm not saying this is the image that was on the actual Tower of Babel, but the image they had placed in the temple was a serpent. Now, why do you think that this civilization, by the way, the time frame is the flood was 60 years ago. Okay? So Noah and the flood, by the way, Noah's still alive. We're going to look at a little timeline. And see that Noah's still alive for a couple of years after, and we're going to see Job, and that's going to kind of tie this whole land area together. But 60 years has passed since the flood, and who was the major subtlety before the flood? What was the beast that was more subtle than anything on the earth in the garden? The serpent. And so who do you think was the one object of worship other than God, so the race of man? What was the object of worship? Well, it kind of makes sense that it would be a serpent. And so, like I said, in the Ark Encounter, when we were there, they placed a serpent in that temple that was on top of that ziggurat, to signify that was an idol. It was a temple to idols. And the idol there would have, and it kind of makes sense, it would have been a serpent. But that's what they're doing. And so the Lord sees that they're all one people. And by the way, the majority of those that were rebellious, and by the way, that key is important. They were the rebellious ones, moved from the west, they moved east. And we read that in here, didn't we? Verse number 2, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east. So they came from the east and they went. They found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. So they moved from one place to another. And by the way, there's still one language. And then they started building this city. And the Lord came down and saw what they were doing. And he said, they're one language, that there's nothing that's going to be held back from them. We see that in verse number 6. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. By the way, how bad was their imagination? How bad was the imagination of mankind back in that day? So we read last week that their thoughts and intents were only evil continually. That was pre-flood. The Lord sent the flood. Had man's heart changed? Noah was the only one that found grace in the eyes of the Lord, right? But there were 6 other people on the ark. Well, actually 7. Noah was the only one that found grace in the eyes of the Lord. What about Noah's wife? What about Noah's 3 sons? What about Noah's 3 sons' wives? Did they find grace in the eyes of the Lord? Or were they dragged to church? Were they dragged onto the ark? I think they were dragged. I think they were drugged. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, not anybody else. They're following Dad because they want to honor him. So yeah, they would have gone freely, but the reason was because they wanted to honor him, not that they were godly. And so they get off the ark. Here we are 60 years later. And what's happening? They're building a ziggurat, this tower, with a temple on top of it to an idol. You see how fast our hearts got wicked after the flood? You'd think 60 years they'd remember the flood, right? So they're in the land of Shinar. Let's go ahead and pop up the picture of Shinar. Yeah, I'm going to get it when the picture is up. You know, I only need one supervisor in the church. Wait, you're probably right. I need more than as bad as I am. All right, so the land of Shinar would be the red circle. Okay, the red circle is the land of Shinar. You guys have a view of that? It's kind of Babylon area. Let me see, I can read some of that. Well, Babylonia is that big red circle at the bottom of the big circle like this. You see three red circles in it. So Babylon's in the middle of the city. Baghdad is just above the top red dot. So we're kind of in Iran area, the land of Shinar. All right? Pop up the picture. I want to, while they're doing that, hold your place here in Genesis 11 and turn back with me to Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1. And verse number 1. In Job 1:1 it says this, there was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. So would you say that Job was a man that was obedient to God or rebellious toward God? Obedient, because this is God speaking. Right? It says he was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And by the way, God repeats that several times to the devil about Job. And so Job is obedient, not rebellious. So Job stays in the land of Uz. Go back to the Shinar picture, please. Should be just the arrow unless you closed it. All right, so can you see where Shinar now is? The red circle. All right. And Uz is way over there by the Mediterranean Sea, which is where Israel is. That's where the land of Uz is. And so we have Job, who lived in the land of Uz, who was perfect and upright. We have then others that journeyed from the east, and they ended up in Shinar. By the way, I think they traveled east. It's kind of weird the wording here because they went east. And they found the plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. So the ones in the plain, the one that built the city, the one that built the ziggurat, the one that built the tower, the one that built that temple, the one that built the temple with the idol, were they obedient to God or were they rebellious? Yeah, they were rebellious, weren't they? And so it's the rebellious ones that the Lord came down. In verse number 6, the Lord said, I'm back in Genesis chapter 11. Sorry about that. We're going to keep Job in mind. You don't have to stay in Job, but we're going to keep him in mind because we're going to use him. Genesis 11 and verse number 6. Let's go to 7. Go to let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. God created all of the rest of the languages. All right? All of the rest of the languages. And then it says, so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. So they're building the ziggurat because they could all speak, but then all of a sudden there's some that, there are some that are now speaking Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, and there's some that are speaking Japanese, and there's some that are speaking Arabic, and then there's some that are speaking Spanish, and there's some that are speaking the Native American languages, and there's some that are speaking Swahili, and then there's some that are speaking Tagalog. And did I say English? And then from there we got Southern, and then we got Northern, and then we got beach, right? Yeah, you got Valley Girl. And so he confused all the languages. And so what happened was they migrated when they got found out, hey, I can understand what you're saying. And they would kind of gather together. And then they would travel off as a group. They would move, and they would migrate. And then they would procreate. They would have children. And probably from that is where we get our different nationalities. Now, I'm against the term races. I'm against the term races. We don't have the black race. We don't have the Filipino race. We don't have white race. We don't have a yellow race. We don't have things. I'm against the term race. There's a human race. We are one race. I am all for the term nationality. I am all for the term nationality. Again, in our church, we have Filipinos, we have Americans, we have you've got Africans, you've got Asians, you've got Europeans, you've got all those are different nationalities. Those aren't races. And so the different nationalities came about because they started inbreeding in that, and they would breed out some of the DNA information, and that's why Betty looks different than me. I'm clear. She's a little darker than me, so I'm clear. She's darker. But then in between the two of us, we've got the Lansings. Right? They're not clear, and they're not as dark. They're in between. Some of you are clearer than I am. Right? And that's how we get all the different colors, is because when we separated, because of languages, then we started breeding out certain characteristics. We went from probably had a certain hair color, but in Adam and Eve and in their children would have been all the hair colors. In one. Now they didn't have rainbow hair. Okay. They had DNA. They had the DNA for all of the different colors of hair. They had DNA for no hair. Yeah, that's part of it. And then they had, the DNA for full head of hair. And then they had DNA for black hair, and blonde hair, brown hair, red hair. They had the DNA in there. But as we were separated by the languages and inbreeding, we would breed out some of those characteristics. That's why when you go to the Far East, China and Japan, they're a little shorter. Their pigmentation's a little bit lighter on the yellowish side. That's how we refer to them. Their eyes are different. Their hair color is almost always black. You move to the Middle East. They've got a little more olive complexion. Some of those guys are blonde hair, blue-eyed. I know there was an Arab population down in Mexico, not too far from where we lived, and they were all blonde hair, blue-eyed. You couldn't tell that they weren't Americans. By the way, by looking at them. And so all of the different nationalities came about because of the segregation of the languages. And inbreeding. We were breeding out information. I mentioned that last week about Noah's Ark and how we have all the different breeds of dogs. On the ark, there was one super dog. He had the DNA information for all the different breeds that we have. There weren't German Shepherds, Doberman Pinschers, and Great Danes, and get along little doggies. There weren't anything like that. There was nothing like that. There was one master dog that had all of those characteristics in it. And the way that we got Doberman Pinschers and German Shepherds and St. Bernards, those are. Have you ever had a Great Dane? Great Danes stand about this tall. And then they get up on their hind paws, put their front paws on your shoulder, and they look at you eye to eye, but their body's like this. We owned Great Danes when I was a kid. And I remember we had two of them. We had a male and a female, Duke and Duchess. And they would jump up on my dad's shoulders and just look at them face to face. Those were big dogs. You get along little dog, he gets up on his little hind legs, barely makes it to your ankle. I remember we had an uncle that lived in Wyoming, and they had a wiener dog, a schnitzel or whatever that's called. Isn't that that's a German food. A dachshund, there it is. It was this long, but it was this big around. And its legs were only this long. And they lived in Sheridan, Wyoming, where it snowed. So they got a skateboard. It stuck it up under his belly so that his little legs could just barely touch the ground, but he could move. He was so fat. But a little short, stubby legs. Now, is that a difference between a Great Dane and a Dachshund? Is there a difference? Is there an appearance difference between a Great Dane and a St. Bernard? Both of those are big dogs. All right, most of your Great Danes are slick, short-haired. And if you crop their ears, man, they get mean looking. But a St. Bernard, does a St. Bernard look mean? That's got to be the friendliest dog. He'll come up on you, he'll put his front paws up on your shoulder, and he'll lick your face to death. But totally different than a Great Dane. But all of those dogs were in that one dog on the ark. And so it's the same with all the kinds of animals that were on the ark. You have the monkeys kind, you have the gorilla kind, you have the dinosaur kind, and then we had mankind. And where the nationalities came in was from the Tower of Babel. Now, they all had one language. What do you think that one language was? King James English, right? That's what I kept trying to say. In my Hebrew class, I kept trying to say, King James English. Come on, you know Jesus spoke King James English when he was walking on earth. In Israel. Let's go ahead and pop the timeline up. Oh man, is there a way? Yeah, there's a way to enlarge that. See that little scale that bigger, please. Yeah, keep going. Keep going a little more. That should be all right. That should be okay. All right, so on 2 Peter 2:5, if you see up in the corner up here, it says 2 Peter 2:5, there were preachers of righteousness. We've looked at this before. The first preacher of righteousness was Adam. Adam wrote down the creation account. God gave to Adam the creation account. And we'll just at the moment call it the language of Adam. All right? We'll call it Adamite. Because, you know, we don't want to call them Adamish because like English. Right? We'll call it Adamite, the language of Adam. Are you guys with me? All right, so if you'll scroll down on the side, David. You see the oh man, that's going to lock. No, I don't like this. You're going to have to make it smaller. All right, we're going to have to look at it like this, and you're just going to have to, we'll do something where we can enlarge it sometime. All right, stop. Go back up. Just a hair. Go back up just a hair. I want you to see the word Eber. See tent, and it says Eber. You guys see the yellow line? Okay. Now make that larger. Yes. No, just click on the scale over here where you were before and make it larger. That's going down. Thank you. All right, can you guys see Eber? All right, so it says tent and Eber. So Eber is the 10th preacher of righteousness. What language do you think Eber spoke? All right, he spoke Eberite. But it's the same language that Adam spoke. If you're in Hebrews chapter, I'm sorry, not Hebrews. I'm speaking in Hebrew. If you're in Genesis chapter 11, let's go back up to Genesis chapter 10 for a moment. All right. Genesis chapter 10, starting verse 22. The children of Shem. Now, Shem is one of the three sons of Noah. What language do you think Shem spoke? Pre-flood or post-flood? All right. Pre-flood. Now, pre-flood, is that before the Tower of Babel or after the Tower of Babel? So that's before. So Shem spoke Adam's language. All right. There's only one language in the land. Shem spoke Adam's language. Then it keeps going on and says, the children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram, and the children of Aram, Uz. Do you guys see that? So he's where that land is from. And Hul, and Gaither, and Mash, and Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. Do you guys see that? So Eber is the 10th preacher of righteousness. What language do you think he spoke? Same as Adam. All right? Now, David, you're going to have to make this small again so I can see it. And then we'll make it larger in a minute. The minus sign on the bottom. Good. Go down. All right, now I want you to scroll to the right. That's down. Scroll to the right. Thank you. Well, now you got to bring Eber back up. Scroll up. Scroll up. That's left. A little more. Right there. Scroll right. Keep going. All right, stop there. Do you guys see that bright yellow column right here? Where it says flood? All right, that's the flood. Okay. And Eber, if you can see here, I know it's kind of bad, but Eber was born 60 years after the flood. Okay. What language did Eber speak? The language of Adam. All right. Go to the right. Keep going. All right. Do you see the Babel, the next yellow column? Babel's dispersion. All right. That happened 50 years after Eber was born. So Eber's 50 years old. What language did Eber speak? The language of Adam. All right. The dispersion happens, and we have all of the rest of the languages. But Eber did not move, and Eber was not rebellious because he was the preacher of righteousness. So at the same time that God confuses all the language with the rebellious people at the Tower of Babel, the language of Adam continues on through Eber, that preacher of righteousness. Eber, the importance of that and Eberite is where we get the English word of Hebrew. The Hebrews are those from Eber. And so the Hebrew language that the original scrolls were written in were the language of Adam. So what language did they speak in the garden? Hebrew. They spoke Hebrew. And since Hebrew is still spoken, since Hebrew is still, at least a version of Hebrew is still spoken, that means that there's still a non-rebellious race, not race, nationality, language. There's a non-rebellious language that still exists alongside of all of the rebellious languages. How many of you speak Hebrew? Not a word. How many of you speak it? You are all rebellious. You are all descendants of the rebellious ones. Thanks, Pastor. But it's interesting, and it was interesting to me, and again, my gift is teaching, so I love this kind of stuff, but it's interesting to me that there's a rebellious language or languages, and there's the non-rebellious. There's the obedient language. And it's going side by side, and we can see, when we look at the original Hebrew scrolls, that's the language that Adam spoke. And these preachers of righteousness that are listed down on that other side, the first one being Adam, the last one being Eber. And they all spoke Adam's language. Because Adam wrote the creation account and then passed that on to the next preacher of righteousness. And then he added to the Word of God, and he passed on that packet to the next preacher of righteousness, and then he added to the packet and passed that on to the next preacher of righteousness, and they did that until they got to Eber. And then after that, Moses comes on the scene, and he rewrites everything. But we have this written account that we can trace all the way back to Adam. And we can see it through Job, who was perfect and upright, spoke the pre-flood, pre-Babel language. And so what they speak in the Garden of Eden again? That unrebellious, that obedient language. The language of Adam. Now it's called Hebrew. And then all the rest of the languages are part of this rebellion that happened at the Tower of Babel. And it's no wonder why we're looking at confusion. It's no wonder. Because the languages were confounded. And that's where English started. Way back when. All right, questions or comments about the Tower of Babel? Anything? Yes. No. All the nationalities that were split off into that, and under Shem and in the Israel, still the obedient race. Then we have the lineage where we start with Abraham, and then we go to Isaac, and then we go to Jacob and Esau and Jacob. And from Jacob we have the 12 tribes. But that's all in the land of Israel, under the obedient language. Okay. All right, anybody else? Questions, comments? Anybody else have teaching as their gift? Yeah, some of you are like, yeah, this is cool. Most of you are like, is it cookie time yet? Is it time for cookies yet? It is. There's not any more questions. We're going to go ahead and be dismissed with a word of prayer. We'll take a couple of minutes break, and then we'll set up the game. During the game time, I'm going to turn it over to somebody else because during the game time, I'm going to go back with the kids